Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Galey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just turning on this Zoom today to talk to everyone and say hello. And I hope that you're doing well. It's 11:11 Central Time, and that's a beautiful place to be. Today, I don't know how everyone's feeling, but it kind of feels like the world has shifted. I woke up this morning and I was like, wow, the world has shifted. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that. And I was really tired too. And I know some other people are really tired and late to work, that sort of thing. And what is really interesting is my dreams in the dream space last night was really intense. And then I woke up with a headache, which after the dreams, I had a headache. So anyway, so there's definitely a shift going on. And guess what? Yesterday was the 2-2. And then today we're well into the Aquarian age, where Pluto is now in Aquarius, just leaving Capricorn, I believe. And it's going to be in Aquarius until the fall, September and October. And then it goes back retrograde into Capricorn again for 2 months. And then we're fully into Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So it's a beautiful time. And perhaps that's what we're feeling. So yes, I'm reading the comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vivi. Vivi says, I feel big shift this morning too. And it's a transit. Been feeling the shift for almost 2 years now. Susan, yes, I've been feeling it since 2022. That would be 2 years now. I literally woke up on January 1st of 2022, and I realized that the world has totally changed, that it's only our memory of the old that keeps us in those same patterns. So what do we do with that? I went through a year of like, wow, the old rules no longer apply. And I was actually at a time where my head and my heart were at war with one another, really, because my head was like, wait, you can't do that. Maybe it was the ego. Let's say it was the ego. And so following the call of the heart always and always in the past 2 years, it kind of feels like I'm over that, where the war between the head and the heart is over. I felt the shift of no longer needing to doubt my heart, knowing that my head, my mind, my ego is there checking things out and saying, everything will be okay. But as long as you follow the heart, and my mind is just here to make certain that you're all safe. So following the heart, maybe I guess some of the tools that I use to do that are very important. So the dream space definitely, lucid dreaming definitely is a tool, but it's hard to actually command your dreams to lucid dream or to become lucid. That takes a lot of practice in itself. So one of my favorite tools, I'm going to list 2 tools that I use to help me. And I hope that you all can use this as your tool. We are the experimentors. We are the quantum living scientists when we use these tools. And one tool, my favorite, okay, there's 2 that I'll go first off on. When you get back on your day, you look back on your day and you're sensing that maybe you didn't show up in the best way that you could show up. Maybe you didn't respond in relationships the way that you wanted to respond, or maybe you were short in temper, or maybe we went unconscious for a moment. Well, the best tool that I use for that is the violet flame. That is Saint Germain's tool. He's the keeper of the violet flame, among other great higher beings. But the violet flame, we know that we can blaze the violet flame. And as we listen to Patricia Diane Cota-Robles, she's got a beautiful graphic of the violet flame, the new violet flame, which even has tones of lavender in it. And this violet flame is very potent. So you can literally blaze the violet flame. I like to do it in a octahedron. I like to do the four-sided triangle, and then that's on the top, and then the four-sided on the bottom, that's an octahedron. And I literally surround the situation, myself, my house, my property, the people that were, if I had a relationship with people, I would blaze the violet flame within that octahedron. So the violet flame is such a beautiful tool, and it really helps to cleanse and clear the energies. So please use the violet flame. I know I am preaching to the choir here because the violet flame has been around for decades. And so when it jumped out at me, wow, 18 years ago, literally a violet flame invocation that I had on my dresser fell off in front of my feet, just out of nowhere. There was no wind, there was nothing. It just slipped off the dresser at my feet at the time that I needed it the most. So that's how I rediscovered the violet flame. And it really does work. It really helps to soothe relationships. Okay, the next thing that I use, that I actually experiment with a lot, and this is the living quantum experiment, the living quantum scientists that we are, is the hoponopono. Okay, so many of us already know the hoponopono, but I'm just going to share right now what the hoponopono is. It is 4 beautiful phrases. It's a Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. And it's more than just Hawaiian. It's the Lemurian way. And so the Hawaiians use it all the time. And you can go Google this and research it and learn more. And I'll talk more about those 4 phrases. But I just want to say, I see people asking about Z. Z is missing in action right now. Hopefully she'll show up. We hope she's okay. I don't know if she'll make it. We will be rescheduling with Z, because I want to know about the dragon ley lines and the dragon keepers, the dragon timekeepers that are awakening from stasis on the planet right now. So sorry, what we're doing right now is I'm going to open it up for you guys to share with me if you want to share, because this is just going to be an impromptu quantum conversation. And it's just me and you, and it's so beautiful. So here are the 4 phrases. I'm sorry, forgive me, I love you, and thank you. That is the ho'oponopono. Thank you, and they could be said in any order. Thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me. And if you weave these phrases into your speaking world with any situation, if you verbally say this, watch what happens. That is a real miracle, even more so than the violet flame. I don't want to say more results, more palpable than the violet flame. So I'm going to share a couple of examples. 4 years ago now, I can't believe how time has flown. 4 years ago on 2020, January 1st, 2020, that was really when, and we all know what happened in 2020 and how the world kind of set us off on a new spin that really recalibrated all of us with the past 4 years that we've been through. But I woke up that day, and someone very dear to me, I was betrayed. It was a loved one, and I was very hurt, and I was going through some really deep emotions. And in the middle of it all, and we were at a point where there was no discussion, there was no talking. And so I was really bewildered and just in an emotional uproar from this. And I heard my higher self say to me, say the ho'oponopono. And at first my ego mind was like, wait, what? What? Why do I have to be the one to say, I'm sorry? I'm not the one that did anything. And I kept hearing my higher self say the ho'oponopono, say the ho'oponopono. And so this is a lesson for all of us. If we can truly say the ho'oponopono to anyone and everything, no matter who's right or who's wrong, and watch what happens. When I did this, I said it in a text message to this person. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. It doesn't matter what order you say those in. Within an instant, a text came back and the walls of discord were dissolved and communication lines were opened, and that relationship was reconciled in the most beautiful way. And that's when I really started to pay attention to the ho'oponopono. And then I started experimenting with it. So as we open this up here for you guys to share with me, if you so wish, I would love to hear your stories of this. But since I've been out promoting it to more and more people saying, okay, well, when I first started experimenting with it, it started with small things, like sending an email to someone who was frustrated with me. I would just say, I would weave those phrases in. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you, in whatever way. I'm sorry that I disappointed you, or I'm sorry you're feeling this way, whatever we want to say. But when we say those words, then we can say, forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And it really is wonderful. So when I did this to a neighbor, I had a neighbor whose dog was barking, and she had a house sitter, and the house sitter didn't know how to bring the dog in or keep the dog quiet. So I walk over and I knock on the door, and I was like, what can we do to make this dog happy? And she was not happy with me when I did this. I guess I was intruding in her space. And so, all right, that's fine. So I could tell that the vibration was not right. So I contacted the homeowner, my neighbor, when she returned from her trip, and I could tell that she was kind of upset as well. So there I used the ho'oponopono again. And when I used the ho'oponopono again in an email, she came back with more words and a longer email of love than I've ever spoken to her in the entire 10 years that I lived in the same cul-de-sac with her. Isn't that miraculous? That's miraculous. So then I kept doing it, the ho'oponopono, the ho'oponopono. I do it. There was a lady, here's another story. It was a stranger, a pure stranger, who I was in my car, and it was during the pandemic. And, that's when people came out. If maybe they were frightened or whatever. To be honest, I was actually feeling guilty to be driving around in my convertible. Why should I be having so much fun when people are all kind of freaked out? But anyway, that's another story. I was driving in my car, and I was behind this cyclist for a long time, letting her just go. But then it came to a point where, all right, I'm done with this, and I want to pass this cyclist and get turned in. I was going to go play tennis. So as when I passed, she's turning into the same right-hand turn that I was. And so I waited for her to make the turn to the right-hand turn, and then I passed around her, and then there was another right-hand turn around that. So she got perturbed by me going around her. I was not speeding. I was very zen and pono, and she flew off the handle. I really triggered her in some way, and she started yelling at me, screaming at me, taking her phone out and taking photos of me. And I used the ho'oponopono. I used the ho'oponopono. I'm so sorry. I did not intend to cut you off. I didn't think I cut you off. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. And I love you. Honestly, I'm so sorry. Well, that was the first time I realized I had witnessed the ho'oponopono not working immediately like I had in the past. She goes into the little outhouse, Sanilet, and I stood there and waited for her to come back out, standing by my car. And she came out and she said a few words to me. I'm going to post this and people are going to know, and bleh. And I just said the ho'oponopono again in my words. And then I was thinking she's going to go on the Nextdoor app and post and say, this lady. And so it was pretty cool because nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came of that. That was the ho'oponopono still working, even without me seeing exactly how it worked. And so I am convinced, and I have witnessed and witnessed and witnessed those 4 phrases. You could say it silently to people as well. You can say, I thank you, I love you, I'm so sorry. You can do that in meditation to a group of people, to yourself. That's a really good thing to do. But you can also do it with our words. That is even so much more powerful. So I really encourage everyone to please use the ho'oponopono in our world, especially as we're navigating these times. So that's really a powerful, powerful tool. So experiencing that love is really cool. So I see some questions here in the chat, and if you guys would like to unmute yourself, raise your hand and I'll allow you to talk. I could bring you in as a person, as a panelist to share your video, but you might not be ready for that. But here we go. I'm going to read. Oh yeah, okay. For those who are joining us tardy or late, Z, we're waiting for Z. And I don't know I don't know what the deal is. We truly hope she's okay. We were all in communication with her, but things happen. Mercury retrograde just released. So maybe that was residue of that. All right. So let's see. Linda, you say, I've been experiencing a difficult relationship with a sister who does not believe in and is opposed to some healthy communication about relationship and communication. I have her stuck in my head. Okay, Linda, if you want to raise your hand as well, you can raise your hand and I'll bring you in. But this is a perfect time with your sister to seriously say, and I did it to my sister earlier too, and it was amazing how it happens. Just, again, your ego mind may say, wait a minute, why do I have to be the one to say, I'm sorry? I'm not the one who did anything wrong. But when you are able to be the higher self, your higher perspective, speaking those words literally unlocks the gates of discord and it opens up communication. So Linda, if you have her stuck in your head, I would send her an email or even on the phone. I would just say, sister, I am so sorry that we are in this situation. Forgive me for being this way. Forgive me for not seeing the greater picture here. Whatever you want to say, you say it in your words. With what's happening in your life, you say it. And what the ho'oponopono means, those 4 phrases from a greater perspective is, if we say it to ourselves, I'm sorry, I forgot I was one with God. I'm sorry, I forgot. Forgive me for feeling separate from source. Thank you for this beautiful reminder. I love you. Okay, that is what we're doing here with the ho'oponopono. That's what it means pretty much from the Hawaiian perspective, the kahuna perspective. And the word aloha is aloha, that every word we say, we're breathing life into our planet. So respect every word. And the ho'oponopono brings us back into the respect for every word. So Linda, I hope that's good for you. Let's see. And so Brigitte says, I've used the forgiveness prayer with 2 different groups of people, but I've never seen any results. And I used it for 2+ years. I guess they aren't ready. Okay, well, if you haven't seen any results, maybe it comes in such a subtle form. Okay, even over the Christmas, I have another example I'd like to share. Even over the Christmas break, the Christmas holiday, there were some intense emotions coming up for people. I think it was another energetic gateway to test us standing in love in the face of everything. And there was someone, another close person in my life, who literally got offended. Nothing that I did, but got offended with me or insulted. Did not mean to do that. So I didn't do anything for about 2 weeks. And then I had a dream. And in this dream, we were having a lot of fun. We were twirling batons. This is a man. So a man, we were twirling batons and doing aerobics together. And that dream was a signal for me to do the ho'oponopono. I couldn't believe that I didn't think of the ho'oponopono with this person sooner. But then I did. And I left a voice message that said, I'm so sorry. Thank you for being my friend. I didn't mean to do anything. Forgive me. And I love you. You're always welcome here. Well, that turned the whole situation around. Again, it opens the floodgates of communication. So keep on it. If you don't see any results, it could be like with me, with the lady. I didn't see the immediate result. I did not see, she was still angry. I could still, and then I was playing tennis and she was still inside of me and I was still, I was still really like energized from it. Clearing that. Another thing to do is breathe out and say, wow, that is a trigger within me. Well, I'm glad that lady helped me clear that within me. Thanks for helping me clear that. That's a good way to go as well. Remember that. Thanks for helping me clear that. It's not anybody else. It's all within us. So a good thing to remember. So keep going. All right. And in the chat, Susan's got the ladies' prayer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is so beautiful. Read that. Okay. All right. The inner child, say the hoponopono gratitude prayer to your inner child, to yourself, everything, everything. Right now, we'll say it to, wow, I'm going to say it to Z. Let's experiment. Z, I'm so sorry we missed you. Forgive me if there's any communication error. Thank you for your bright light and your great wisdom. And I love you so much. So let's see what happens. Okay. We will be rescheduling with Z because this will be over in another 30 minutes. Okay. All right, Linda, thank you. You do know about the Ho'oponopono and you do not do it enough. Well, this is just a friendly reminder for all of us to do it. Okay, I'm going to go to Charlene and let's have some questions. Okay, let's go. If you've got a question, this is a beautiful time to do it. Charlene, hi, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Okay, so I kind of used it in three different ways. The first one was I used it on myself because in the past I have been self-destructive on my younger self. So I kind of used it on my younger self many, many times. Also, I have a stepdaughter and her and I didn't see eye to eye. She got into drugs. And so there was a lot of me that didn't accept that. And so I used it then. That was very, very eye-opening and very, very helpful for me. I have to say that. And our relationship is way, way better. The last way I wanted to explain was, my daughter was 17 when she got in a car accident and she didn't make it. So there was a lot that I had to forgive myself on, and I used that to help heal myself from her passing away.
You
when she
use
was 17.
Ho'oponopono for, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Charlene, I'm so sorry. When was this?
When she was 17, I was in my 40s, so it was in 1995. And so I used that when I was older though, because I didn't know it then. The only way I was able to survive that at the time was mostly trying to forgive myself and appreciating her, having her on this earth for the time that she was here. So that's how I survived that. But later on, when I was able to learn the Ho'oponopono, I probably say it wrong,
No.
but I used it later on with her, and a lot more healing had happened. So that was great.
There you go. And let me ask, have you had dreams of her?
That's the thing about that. I haven't any dreams or anything. And I asked my daughter that she grew up with, if she's had any dreams, and she said no also. So it's like she went to a place where busy lady, I suppose. I mean, I've had dreams of my mother. I took care of my mother and she passed away in 2017. I have a lot of dreams of her, but my daughter, for some reason, it has not happened. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. It's no different in any way. And just let me know if something happens and that changes. It would be wonderful. Maybe you'll have one. Maybe Maybe she's reincarnated. What does that feel like?
I feel yes. I feel she is like busy doing something else. She was a free spirit girl, um, just kind of a very nature girl, and that's what she did a lot. She loved the camping, and I feel that she flew away and doing adventurous stuff. So. I did feel her once a couple of weeks ago, and
Wow.
that was, I'm like, I don't know how I knew it, but I felt her the other day. So that was the first time in a long, long time.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing, Charlene. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All our love to you. And let's see. Okay, we are going to go to Patricia. Hi, Patricia.
Hello, Lauren. It's lovely to hear you just discussing the wonderful tools you use
Mhm.
for those different situations that come up. I am a thriver from two late-stage breast cancer journeys. The latest, and both of them within 5 years. The latest was a stage 4 bone cancer metastasized. So for each journey, I went deep inside, and I have a whole collection of tools to use. So when you talked about how you go to tools, one of them is the violet flame, one is hoponopono. I use those plus others. And I have to say, I feel two successful journeys and remissions from both those situations. That was just my foundation, and a deep appreciation for how powerful the tools can be to move you through something that it's quite the interesting experience. So thank you for sharing that. I think maybe if you've got the time, you'll even be sharing more tools.
Wow, yes, thank you. There are a couple more. I can probably leave us with one and y'all probably know it as well. But the tools that you used for the remission that you healed yourself, can you share what those were?
Oh, there were so many. I did use the violet flame. I did do the hoponopono. What I found was from moment to moment, staying mindful, I was actually, honest to God, mostly in gratitude, which is a beautifully high frequency. Gratitude for me opened my heart and put me right up there so fast. When I was not in gratitude, it would be times when stuff came up, like a trigger situation or whatever. But I would ask my spirit and soul, what tool? Which one do we use? So it wasn't a standard, oh, well, when this happens, I'm going to do this. It's like, where do I flow and with what tool? So I was using breath. I teach mindfulness. So I was using breath. I was using um, introspection, like really being present with the feeling and not denying it and moving it through. Especially the second time I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm sorry for my language, but my thought was, what the fuck? I already did this. What am I doing with this? And it's even later stage, it's stage 4. But I stayed with that anger. I wasn't in fear. I stayed with that anger. It's like, seriously? And I walked it back and forth to move the energy through, acknowledging I was angry and disappointed that it was back. And I walked it through. And when I was emptied out and I felt empty, I just held my arms out to the divine and said, show me the gift. There's got to be a gift in this. And I had this amazing download of spirit that said, of course, you need to really know and understand and own there's no future. There's only now, and every moment of now. And that brought me such a sense of freedom. So that was the gift. The first time I had breast cancer, I asked for the gifts, and it was to release fear around cancer. And I did that, and I was never afraid again, no matter what I was going through with test scans, surgeries, etc. And also a sense of empowerment that I could sit in front of the oncologist and say, I'm not doing chemo. Let's not go there. And just walked away from the offer of chemo because my body was screaming at me, no, my kidneys and liver. And the thing is, that was another tool. What's my body want? What does my body say? Listening to my body. So when I walked out of the cancer clinic, having said no, I did agree in the first experience of cancer to do radiation. So I did that. My body said, yeah, we can do that. And I did that surgery and radiation. So what I learned was such a sense of empowerment that I could do what I wanted. What are you guys offering me in this smorgasbord of healing? And I will not do the chemo. I'll do the radiation, not doing extra surgery to remove all of my lymph nodes. No, thank you. And having that ownership of my body and my choice. And that was another tool that I feel was a gift as
Wow.
well.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps and love bumps, God bumps, because I feel like crying with the truth of love of who you are and your journey. What a journey. Seriously, what a beautiful journey. That is not easy. That is not easy, Patricia, because for one thing, the fear that could come up, but you stormed through it. You are a true light worker. Have you considered writing a book or sharing
Yes,
this?
yes. I thought it would be nice to do talks first, explaining this is what my journeys were like, this is what I did, and offering the program of tools to use and how to be present with it. And yes, at some point, putting it into a book. But my thought was to start with the talking and sharing, because your response, it's a heart-to-heart, gut level response. And that really hits home with people. And that's what's important, that you can do cancer in a different way. And you do not have to be in the mass consciousness of cancer. That's a huge pain body. It's legitimate, because of course people are afraid of cancer. Look at the history and what people go through with it and their loved ones. But we can step above it. And I always kept myself above that frequency of that pain body of mass consciousness. And when I slipped down into what I would call maybe a lower frequency, it was because something was coming up I needed to resolve in myself. And I moved through that and then went back right up to my higher frequency. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you. You have helped all of us. Wow, I mean, something like that on such a diagnosis, and you've overcome it, is so remarkable and inspiring. And so New Earth One Network is here for teachers like you. Please reach out to me, Patricia, if you would like to teach on New Earth One Network.
Thank you. I think I'm muted.
No, you're not muted.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'll reach out to you, Lauren. Thank you so much for offering. And I want to say on that second journey with stage cancer, it was a late stage 3. It had really spread because 11 lymph nodes were full of cancer as well as the tumor. And I actually said no to chemo and radiation. My body was just saying, no, that's not going to work this time. And when I told the oncologist that she said, well, that's okay. We can give you a drug. It'll target the breast cancer cells, and we don't do chemo and radiation for somebody who slipped into stage 4 bone cancer. And you are in stage 4 bone cancer now. I said, okay, do the drug. And I did for a year. And then my body said, okay, we're done.
The key is listening to your body, listening to your body. And this is where, when I said earlier, I felt I was at war between my mind and my heart, my head, my ego, my head and my heart, because my heart knew fully what I was doing. But my ego was like, no, wait, you cannot be doing that. But you've done it too. And so listening to your body is really key in all of it. So
it is.
thank you. Wow. You are remarkable. Share your story wide and free. Share it. Share it in any way that you can. That's your gift. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Beautiful comments. Please read the comments in the chat if you're watching this on Zoom, because wow, really incredible comments and sharings from everyone. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on. Let's see. Tamra, hi. Hello, you can unmute.
Aloha, beautiful sisters and brothers. Just a couple of shares with the ho'oponopono. I had first heard about it probably about 10 years ago, and I was really in a place of anger. And so I really was not open to it.
You were probably like, well, how, that's stupid, right? You were probably like, that's a cop out. How did you respond?
I just kind of went, oh,
Uh-huh.
I'm so not ready to hear it, even though I knew that forgiveness is a big part of my life at that particular moment. It was just like, I'm just so not ready to hear this because I was in so much anger. But anyways, a couple years
Was it
ago,
anger, excuse me, was it anger at another person or a situation or a place? What was it?
um, oh man, oof. It was
Growth.
probably, yeah, it was a situation, that, yeah, it was, yeah, I was just kind of lost for a bit there. So it was a few things,
Okay.
not
Okay.
knowing where I was going, what I was doing, you know. Yeah. So anyways, a couple years ago, I came upon it again, uh, and started the Joe Vitelli Ho'oponopono certification course.
Okay, good. That's Joe is I think where I discovered it the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so anyways, I was also involved in some training to do healings, and you know, it was like my third eye was opening, and through this particular program, I needed to work on people, and I had just met this young fellow, and I phoned him up and I said, "Hey, I need, you know, a participant. Would you be willing?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." Now he had gone through a really rough time. He ended up in the hospital, and they were trying to pump him with, anyways, with the pandemic stuff. And his parents basically had abandoned him in the hospital. So he was really, really angry. And while he was talking to me the day prior to the remote session I was going to give him, he was just dropping the F-bombs left, right, and center. Now, as he was doing that, I was saying the ho'oponopono within myself. Well, we had the session. Actually, no, it was that same day. It was about half an hour before we were going to start the session. And so I was doing the ho'opono. I did the session, it was remote. And he had got back to me probably about 3-4 hours later in a text. And he says, "You're not going to believe this." He said, it's like I did 180 degrees. Like his parents, he wasn't talking to his dad or his mom or whatever, but he was just so shocked that his father actually had contacted him and said, "Hey, son, come on over," you know, and they had basically, it was going to take away his inheritance. And so his father had came around and said, "Son, I'm sorry, da 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 da." It was so beautiful, Lauren. Now,
Yeah.
the next one is just recent. Like I'm just getting chills still from that.
Mhm.
Is because of the pandemic and not consenting to, because the body just knew that, no, I'm not going to do what they're asking to do. And as a lot of us had separation within the family. And it was really painful for me because I was the only one that didn't consent. And it was challenging, like I say, you know, as I'm sure it was for many, many, many of us. Well, in May, my sister, sorry, my sister transitioned. And I know it's because of, you know, she consented to. And because of who I am and being the different one, you know, the change agent in the family, something had happened years ago. And my nephew had said that my brother-in-law didn't want me at her celebration of life unless I compromised who I was. And I wasn't willing to do that. But I also have the mediumship ability where I talk to spirits, and actually my sister's spirit came to me 6 months before she she passed, which my mom did the same and my father did the same thing. Their spirit came to me 6 months before they passed to let me know. Anyways, so I chose not to go. And so there was this rift between my brother-in-law and myself. And, you know, I've been doing the hoponopono and, you know, he's going through his own thing and that's fine, but I just needed to do it for myself. His birthday was January 5th. I had sent him a birthday card and I had gotten a text just, what was it, January, about a week later, saying, how are you doing? And just, it was so beautiful, Lauren, you know,
And you, the
absolutely.
Ho'oponopono woven into that with your
Yes.
brother-in-law, see?
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. And I've had other situations as well. Like I'm living with my sister. And so I've been, you know, saying that with myself here.
Mhm.
And again, you know, it's just shifted things so, so beautifully.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing these, you know, yes, our families, where there's rifts in our families. I have a cousin, and he went through troubling times, a marriage dissolved, he's got girls, and you know, his family sided with her, and that really deeply hurt him, and he's still working through it. And I've been encouraging him to do the Ho'oponopono. So I do it for him, and it helps a little bit, but there's something about the alchemy of the person truly receiving the forgiveness for themselves. Forgiveness is so huge. And so we can try to do it for other people. The Ho'oponopono was done for other people. That's how it became so popular. You know, when you talk about the doctor from Hawaii, his name is eluding me now, but he did it with the mental patients. And he just did it to their files, where he would say, he looked at the names of the people in their files, and he did the Ho'oponopono to their files, and it changed their behavior in that hospital. But what you did with your brother, you know, and maybe your sister on the other side was facilitating that as well. And maybe she came to him in a dream. When we have dreams of our loved ones from the other side, that's more than a dream, that's a visitation. And so love it, and read into that. You can see what's happening with them in the dream space. So thank you, Tamara, for sharing that. And again, all of our experiences here, we have to share this with the world. We are the light workers, the new earth leaders that are here to assist. Can you imagine if we did it to every headline in the newspaper that made us feel, you know, whatever feelings? If we do it for everything, if we do it for our leaders that we elect, if we can do it, we can really witness how it will shift the world. But let's just start in our own life. It's really key. And it is remarkable. And just do it and witness like you did, Tamara. Thank you. Thanks
You're
for
welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you and everyone here and just being that bright, shining light. For those of us who are a little bit dim, and so your light is opening up the way for a lot of us, many, many, many of us. So blessings for your light. And I just quickly, if you don't mind, I just had a vision, download pop in that perhaps one day we could designate a day for a lot of us to get together to do the Ho'oponopono at one time.
I love that. Well, this is a year to do it. I'm going to take notes on that. And we'll do a Ho'oponopono. You know what? We can do it together on a webinar. We can each just say every day, I'm going to do it at at 11:11 every day, no matter where we are on the planet. Maybe, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
would, especially as we move through interesting times in the world, very
So
interesting times in the world. It's not just America, there's other countries. And so I often ask, where's the decency? Where's the, we're in 2024. Where is the unity? And so when I see a comment here, ooh, another reason to to look at the news in a different way, from a different perspective. Yes, that's how we can do it. When we do choose to peek at the news, see those headlines that just seem like that world is going to hell in a handbasket, and use our light tools. Use our light tools, and we know it. So we're going to continue to experiment with this and use it. We're not just experimenting anymore. It really is valid that it is alchemy, and it's an energetic. And if we go to the higher self of the people on this planet, and if all we do is help other people connect with their higher self, we've done an excellent job. So thank you. Thank you for that suggestion, Tamara.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Spirit. I listened. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody. And ho'oponopono to the world.
Yes.
To the world.
Cool. Thank you. Well, one of the other things that I wanted to share as we wrap up our show today, and again, we're going to have Z back on. I'll let y'all know when that will be. It'll be coming up here, because I'm really, she's so amazing, that girl. We hiked in Boulder together, and I've just seen her blossom into this beautiful bright light, and I'm just so glad that she came on Quantum Conversations, and she really stepped up and into her role on the planet. And so we're excited to bring her back. So one of the other things I wanted to share is a couple things. We can go into dreams, we can go into the lucid dreaming and all of that. But I wanted to say more about the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. I don't know if you all know what that is. It means the Holy of Holies. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. When we say those words, it's Hebrew, and it's very ancient. It's probably even beyond Hebrew. But when we say Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat, a beam of God light comes down around us and truly protects us. So I say Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat when I'm on my bicycle, out in the world, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. And then lately, actually the past 5 years, I've been adding the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh to the octahedron. And so I'll do Kadosh, 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 the 4 sides of the pyramid, Adonai Sabayat. And then I fill that octahedron with the violet flame. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. And I see that octahedron as a container. And I'll even use that for my business. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. I'm going to put this in the chat. Now, some of you may be familiar with the book, The Keys of Enoch. It's right here over on my desk. It talks about Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Adonai, Sabayat. It's in the chat. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. One time I said this, I was on a retreat in Roatan, a dive retreat, scuba diving. And this young gal came over and sat next to me. She was kind of fearful about something going on. And I said, just say Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabayat. And she lit up and said, oh my gosh, what is that? That is so beautiful. I've heard that before. What is it? And then I told her it just brings a beam of light down, and it's a protection as well. And some spiritual leaders say we no longer need the protection, but that's for you to use. If you feel comfort by saying those words, say it. It's beautiful Christ light, source light, direct from source that comes down to hold us and yes, help with us. Another thing that I want to share real quickly here is that toning, if I know many of us tone, the first time I heard toning, I was at a Master Curiel seminar, and this Master Curiel told this man that he was a walk-in, that he did a soul exchange and that he was a walk-in, and this man was blown away. He was visibly shaken. He was just like, oh, wow, I'm a walk-in. And a group of the supporting members of Master Curiel's team went around and they put their hands on his shoulder, on his back and his head, and they just started toning. My immature self laughed and thought that was so funny. Later, in my car, looking back, I laughed. Now I see the humor in it. That laughter, my own laughter, helped crack the ego shell that I had against that. And it just showed the fun and spontaneity of it. The toning actually helped me open up to my own toning. And then I was in my house one day, and I'll try to keep this brief because there's more to it. It took years to unfold the toning. But I was in my house one day and I was just letting the ahs and the oohs and just the normal tones come out, and then listening to how they would shift and they would change. And then I had a vision. I was in Lemuria, and I'm going to cry now because of the truth of this coming up, but I was in Lemuria and I remember toning in Lemuria. And then I had, okay, in this lifetime, I love singing. I love karaoke, but my family doesn't like me to sing. So my husband bought me singing lessons, and now I can sing in front of them because I had the singing lessons. And he's like, aren't you glad I gave you those singing lessons? Because I would just want to just sing too strong and blah and boisterous. But now I know that's because I loved it so much. But in this toning process where I remembered myself in Lemuria, I remembered I was always toning. And then I remember past lives where I toned to the babies or sang to the babies in the singing lessons. That was a memory that came up, and I cried as soon as I sang in my normal range of voice, like this voice. And because I always tend to go up soprano or really low. And when I sang in my normal range, I just started crying because I remembered singing to the babies. And then I remembered hands around my neck, I was being taken out for singing. So that was a past life experience. And I see a question in the chat, like, how can we weave the ho'oponopono into a past life? Well, just your awareness of that past life helps it come up and helps you in every situation of that memory. So you can use the ho'oponopono whenever you have that memory. It's just a forgiveness prayer for yourself. So then as I was toning, I'm going back to that toning experience with the Lemurian tone, then I realized that not others saying that I can't sing. I accepted their words saying, you can't sing. But it was me, myself, who said I couldn't sing. And so that was a real healing experience to go through toning, because everyone can tone and we don't get it right or wrong. And so then I get in my car. Oh, one more thing about that is, as I was toning and letting it open even more, then overtones came out. It was so beautiful. And I was alone in my house, except my cat and dog were there. And they both came bouncing down the stairs and were in the kitchen with me. And they just had to be near me as I was toning. And I paid attention to that. And I thought it was so special and so sweet. And then I get in my car and I'm driving up to one of the mountain tops where you can drive up to one of the 14,000 ranges. And I'm toning in the car and my vibration is held. I'm toning. And I'm feeling so like, wow, so elevated from that toning that I see this big, long train of motorcycles. There had to be over 100 motorcycles, and they passed me because I had stopped my car. And then I'm going, oh no, they're going exactly where I'm going. And so when we get to the gate of this national park, there's 100 and some motorcycles in line waiting to pay to get in. And I kept toning. And of course, my convertible was open. And because I wasn't toning out loud so they could hear me. I'm not that. I'm too embarrassed for that. But my vibration was still there, that people on the motorcycles were like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, go ahead. And the next thing I know, the motorcade, if you will, the motorcycle line opened up and I drove through. They let me through. That was a miracle. Here's my last miracle, and we'll wrap this up. My last miracle was with a baby. Okay, one day, here I am. This was last year, actually, last year. And it was early in the morning and I hear this loud bang. I'm like, what is that? Usually it's my for some reason, my refrigerator has that loud bang when it drops ice, but this was not that. It was totally different and a little bit louder. So I get up out of my bed and I go and I look, and out on the patio is a baby bird. It looked dead. It was totally lifeless. It wasn't, it wasn't breathing. It was totally still. I was like, oh, it flew into the window, the baby, and the natural instinct, tone. Natural reaction was just to tone. So I toned. I just started toning, and I heard in my head, believe. There's my heart overriding what my head is looking around to see if anybody could hear me. And I just kept hearing believe. So I kept toning, and I was toning from my heart. Toning, minutes went by, and I kept hearing believe. And, you would think after 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you'd stop toning, but I kept toning. And then this little baby bird, his legs kind of twitch, and then it pops up. It was a baby owl. And its eyes were closed, and it was sitting there totally still up on its feet, and its eyes were closed. And I kept toning, and then I ran to get my camera. I actually have a video of it. And then I ran to get my camera and started videoing it. And I kept toning. And then as I listened, my tones turned into an owl sound, really like an owl. And I thought that was so remarkable. And then these eyes like pop open and turn and look at me. I've got the video. And it was so amazing. Let's see, do I have it available? That would be so cool if I could play it. I don't know. I don't know if I have it. No, I don't have it. Okay. Well, I don't know. But I kept toning, and it looked at me. It looked at me, staring right at me. And then it looks away and its eyes blink, and I kept toning. This was like 8 minutes of this toning, and then it flew away. This is the miracle. What is it about toning? It's a form of light language, it's source energy. It could be a form of the kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. So I encourage people to tone and to never forget our power. And as we heard from the beautiful beings on this program today, they are empowered. So hoponopono, the toning, the violet flame, the kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. There's so many others. These are tools that keep us in our heart and keep us centered. And so with that, stay centered and be empowered and tone to the animals. When you see cows, tone to the cows. Thank them for being the food chain on our planet. Thank them for coming. Tone to the rocks, tone to the trees. See, we can even go on and talk about trees. Tone to the rivers, tone to our politicians, tone to the environmental things that weigh heavy on our heart. I tone when I see fracking sites. I don't know what that is, but I tone. It makes me feel better. And that's the key, our vibration. So as we hold our vibration, then we are really holding the vibration, creating a morphogenic field for the planet. So with that, everyone, I send you all my love. We will be having Z back. I thank you for staying and hanging out in this hour. Thank you. I love all these things in the chat line. Thank you, everyone. Casey, Tamra, Arietta, Claire, Susan, all you beautiful people, Vladimiro. Oh, wow. I could go through all of these names. So beautiful to see you all. And I know there's Earth Star's autopilot. Okay, I'm going to bring Z in for just a moment because we are out of time, but I'm bringing Z in as a panelist. I think this is Z, Earth Star's autopilot. I have just, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's another Earth Star. Okay, anyway, I love you guys. I thank you for being here. I thank you for your bright light. One of the things that I saw on a hike that I would take is people would take these little stones. There was a cutoff tree. Okay, Earth Star's autopilot is not, not Z. Okay, there was a tree that was cut down, and the people that walk on this trail put on the stump little an altar of rocks and stones and tree twigs and little wildflowers. It was so beautiful. And we would always add to it. We would always add to it, add to it every time I walked by, and everybody would just add to it. Some days I'd walk by and someone would just had come through and just knocked it over. But yet every day, reliably, every day, it would be rebuilt. It would be rebuilt. It would be rebuilt. And I heard in my head as I put a stone up there, sad that someone had kicked it off. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because we would each keep rebuilding it with droplets of our love, energetics of our love, deposits of our love. And I just heard, your love matters. And that is what we all need to remember. Your love matters. And so when any situation comes up and knocks us off kilter, your love matters. Don't ever let anyone take you from your love and your light. As we heard from our beautiful guest, Patricia, it actually saved her life. Our love matters. And your bright light is here for a reason. And we thank you all for being here. So with that, I send you my deep love and gratitude and say goodbye for now. Thank you, beautiful hearts. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Galey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.